The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everybody, it's Chris Winters here, and we're back for another exciting training webinar. And here, you know the standard. If you've been on these before, just type in a 1 in the chat box. Let me know you can hear me and see the screen. And if you want to include where you're from, I'll shout it out here. Always nice to know where everyone is. Awesome, we got lots of 1s, so we're looking good there. Hello from North Coast Korea. RJ, thank you. Canada, I've got lots of Canadian neighbors on here. Australia down under. Seattle, sunglass capital of the world. Philippines, UK. Chattanooga. Danielle from Canada. Awesome. Southern Cal. New Jersey. Awesome. Awesome. Great, great. Beverly Hills. Awesome. Atlanta, New York. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. And just 2 seconds here. Let me set everything up. Alrighty, welcome to the webinar. My name is Chris Winters here, and you guys and gals are in for a treat. This webinar is amazing. We did this webinar last Sunday, and we overbooked. People could not get on it, so we're doing it one more time. We didn't have a recording of it, and you're going to find out why in a minute. I want to ask some of you out there in here if you can relate to this statement on here, this kind of concept on here. And that is, you know, when I grew up, I was always told to, you know, go to school, go to high school, get really good grades in high school so you could then get into a good college, so then you could get out and get a good job. And then I was also told that figure that's floated around there quite a bit, that, you know, I'll make $1 million more over my lifetime if I go to college versus a non-college graduate. And so I kind of fell into that whole system there. And when I graduated from college, I graduated with a large amount of debt, about $80,000 or so. And I got a job, but it wasn't necessarily the job I wanted or a dream job, but I got it. It was quite a bit lower paying. And while I was there, after a couple of years, I noticed that people around me were buying houses. So I started working harder and harder so I could also, get the big house and live in the nice neighborhoods that everyone else was in. And I got even further in debt. And after a while, I just kind of realized that wasn't my idea of freedom. And I didn't have a clear idea of what freedom was, so I was easily sucked into what everyone else was doing on that end of it. How many people out there, just type in a 2, can kind of relate with me on that level and have kind of either figured it out or are starting to figure out that that doesn't quite work the way everyone claims it is? Okay, cool. Yep, get lots of 2s in there. Super, super. And that's really what got me into online marketing on here. And as many of you know some of my story out there, I'm not going to get into it now, but things kind of fell apart after all that. Actually ended up sleeping in the back of a car, a 32-year-old car, by the way. And but I made it work. I made it work online. And when I first started, I did everything myself. I set up my sites, I installed my own plugins, I did my own SEO, I wrote my own content, I managed my own paid ads, I kept my own bookkeeping. I mean, I did it all. And as you can imagine, I was working 60, 80 hours a week. And the reason that I was doing that is because I was worried that no one else could do the job as good as me. And I also felt I couldn't trust someone else, especially someone else halfway around the world, working from home. How can I trust them with my business that I've built with blood and sweat? So I just wondering that how many of you can kind of relate to that? Can you relate to that? Is that something that you guys feel confident with? Yeah, definitely. A lot of people in there can definitely relate to that. So naturally, my online business started to suffer because I had no time to work on my business. I was too busy inside it in the trenches, okay, doing everything myself. And so as it grew, it started to suffer and it started to grow smaller and I started to sleep less. And it was really a vicious cycle. And then I realized if I really wanted to grow my business and enjoy the freedoms, that I needed to hire somebody. And so I did. And the first month that I hired somebody, I didn't have these amazing results like my business quadrupled overnight, but I did have positive results, and my business profited an extra $1,000. And I was only paying around $65 a week for a full-time outsourcer, and I got to work a little bit less. So I was like, hey, I'm on to something here. This is actually working. In the month after that, profited an extra $4,000 on that. And by the end of the year, I had filed my highest tax returns ever. Is $1.6 million, and it actually got the attention of Dan Kennedy. And I got invited, and he interviewed me in my first year of my business and stuff. So, but look, outsourcing saved my life. It saved my business. It gave me the freedom. And today, I'm a full-time world traveler with my kids. I homeschool them, and my business continues to grow and strive. And yes, I get 7, 8 hours of sleep. That's all I need on that end of it. So, but I wasn't able to really take control of my business. Rather, it was controlling me until I started hiring the best talent, learning how to manage them, and then monitor the work. And I didn't have all that stuff figured out. When I started out, I was horrible at it. And so that's why I want you to be here tonight. Listen to this. Pay attention to our guest on here. And if you're thinking to yourself right now, oh, wait a minute, I don't have enough work for an outsourcer, no problem. Stick around. You're going to want to hear the solution to that, and many other things on here. Plus, you're going to be introduced to new technology towards the end. So I want to introduce to you one of the good guys on here. This is a fantastic person on here. He's the guru at outsourcing on here, and has created some amazing technology, and you're going to get some really good training on here. And Gonzalo, are you on there?
I'm on here, guys.
Fantastic in here. Well, hey, take it away.
All right, cool. Well, first thing, Chris and everyone in the audience, thank you guys for having me. It's great to be here, and I'm excited to really share what I've acquired over the last 10 years, learning how to outsource. So my goal today, this is really one of my first times, last couple of weeks, couple of months, has been my first time really sharing my secrets in public. And let me tell you why I came across the reason why I want to share this. Last October, I went to a business cruise, a mastermind cruise, and people were sharing with me why their business frustrating them, their business taking too much of their time. And with one gentleman, his name is Mark Ensign, I started sharing with him how I outsource, how I'm able to automate and systemize my business. And he said to me, Gonzalo, you need to share this with people. He applied the things I taught him over a period of a couple of weeks, and he is the CEO of a Inc. 500 corporation. He owns one of the largest SEO companies in the US, and he applied my techniques to go from 20 to 25 full-time employees to almost outsource 90% of his business for pennies on the dollar. So I'm going to be sharing that with you today. So by the end of the webinar, my goal is to make you an outsource all-star employer. So you can find those perfect employees in less than a week. I'm also going to teach you at the end of the webinar how to get those employees to pay for themselves without you having to put any money out of your own pocket. I'm going to show you some real things that I am using right now that you can take action and apply them, this week. All right, guys, so are you guys ready? All right, so let's go right into it. So the first thing, why do we need to outsource, right? If you remember, Chris always shares with everyone that the most important thing as a business owner is to be a rainmaker. Now, what do I mean about a rainmaker? A rainmaker is someone who's responsible for bringing more business into his company, right? It is not to wear all the hats, right? We're all guilty of this. We've heard this, thousands of times, outsource, outsource. And, no matter how much you've heard about outsourcing or how much you think you know, what I'm going to share with you today, guys, it's going to blow you away. It doesn't matter if you're just curious about outsourcing or you want to outsource, but you don't know how to start. Even if you tried outsourcing before and it was a total nightmare, I've been in all these three situations. But what I'm going to share with you is literally going to change your life, right? What I'm going to share with you is I'm going to show you how to get more clients, make more money, bring in more business with less stress. Now I'm going to share with you one of my personal business heroes. Okay, do you guys know who this man is? John D. Rockefeller. Go ahead and put it in the chat box. Do you guys remember who this guy is? Yes, he is the founder of Standard Oil, the richest man who ever lived, right? His company was broken down and became like Exxon, Shell, Mobil. When he was asked what was the number one lesson that he wanted to pass on to other people, this is what he said. He said, I would rather earn 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own efforts. Now, my thought is, if it's good enough for the richest man who ever lived, his advice is good enough for me, and it's good enough for everyone else. So I'm going to go ahead and go right into it. In the next 60 minutes, I'm going to show you how to overcome the biggest obstacle with outsourcing. And that biggest obstacle is the hiring process. It's not about how to outsource it, but it's actually how to find someone and how to hire them correctly. Once you get past this hurdle, outsourcing becomes really easy. I'm going to provide you a step-by-step hiring blueprint on how to find and hire outsource employees. Now, once you find that perfect candidate, I'm going to show you how to manage them and how to train them and how to make sure you're getting all the hours you're paying for. And last but not least, at the end, I'm going to show you how to get that outsourced employee to work for you and bring you more money, so money doesn't come out of your pocket. So it doesn't matter if you don't even have one outsourced employee right now. I'm going to show you how to hire someone and make money from them off day one. All right, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Gonzalo Paternoster, and I'm a hiring automation expert. So I also have managed outsourced employees since 1996. I've interviewed thousands of candidates and managed hundreds of outsourced employees. Now, I'm going to go right into the content. So the first I'm going to cover is the outsourcing myths that can hold us back. Now, we all will fall into one of these three myths. The first myth is, and tell me if you're guilty of this, no one else can do this better than I can. Tell me if this is you. I used to think this. This is for all of us who are control freaks, right? That we have a limiting belief that no one else can do this better than I can. And that is total BS. Think about this, guys. There's over 7 billion people on the planet, and you could probably find at least 1 or 2 people that can do it exactly how you can do it, or even better than you, right? Second myth, it will take too much time to teach someone else how to do it. Now I'm going to give you an example here. Let's say you do a task every week, and those tasks, the same task takes you about 5 hours a week to complete. Now let's say you take an extra 2 hours of your own time to document and teach someone else how to do it. If you multiply 5 hours a week times 52 weeks in a year, that's going to save you 260 hours in a year. That is roughly 6 weeks of extra time for you. Imagine what you can do with that. Take on a new project, take a vacation. There's so many things you can do that. So taking 2 extra hours can save you 6 weeks of time in a year. I'm going to show you how to get people to do that for you for about $250 to $300 a month. That will be all-star employees for you. The most successful companies in the world have systems and processes in place that teach their employees exactly what they need to do. Now, there's 2 books. If you know nothing about systems, there's 2 books I recommend. The first one is called The E-Myth, and the second one is called Work the System. These books teach you and show you examples of how McDonald's takes the least educated people in our society and run multi-billion-dollar companies because they have documented systems in place. They can literally take someone from the street, a homeless person, and the next day they can be running a fast food restaurant. All right? Now the third myth, I can handle it all. Now I was guilty of this. Your number one job is to be the rainmaker. This is the only activity that you should have. This is to bring money into your company. It's not to do all this busy work, right? It's not to do WordPress blogs, do graphic designs, upload ads, make phone calls. That's not really your job. Your job is to be the director of your company. Now, type in yes right now in your chat box if you've been guilty of any of these 3. Right? Now, if you believe any of these myths, you're probably wearing all the hats in your business. And the problem with that is you get overwhelmed, you get burned out, and then what happens? Things fall through the cracks. When I first opened my business in my real estate company, I had a large real estate mortgage company, I remember having my first $10,000 deal. I did one deal and made $10,000. I took my wife to a nice dinner, we were celebrating, and my cell phone rings. I had a customer that was mad at me, that was pissed off because I forgot to send them a proposal. So I went from being super high, excited, to totally depressed and bothered in a bad mood, because when you're wearing all the hats, it becomes an emotional roller coaster. Chris, have you ever had anything fall through the cracks because you had too much to do in the past?
No, never. No, actually, yeah, a lot, like almost my entire business, because I got so overwhelmed doing it. So absolutely. And I know that there's a lot of other people out there that can relate to that as well.
And that's the thing, guys. When you're wearing all the hats, things will happen, things will fall through the cracks, right? This is why I love to outsource, because, it allows me to be able to think more, have more time. So let me go ahead and go right into the content. And guys, if you have Facebook open, YouTube or whatever you have, go ahead and close it, because this is where we're getting into the meat of the whole system. And don't forget, at the end, I'm going to cover on how to get those employees to pay for themselves in less than a week. So the normal way of hiring outsourced employees is broken, right? Now, the moment that you decide to outsource, you encounter the biggest obstacle right off the gate, which is the hiring process. Every outsourcing expert, guru, ninja, prophet, whatever you want to call them, they're doing it wrong. They say, go out, hire someone, and then you can, do all these things. The moment that you decide to hire someone and you post a job on the internet to find outsourced employees, you encounter 5 big problems, all right, when you do things the normal way. The first one, I call it, is the attack of the resumes. So you post a job on a website, and roughly within 72 hours, you get between 50 to 300 resumes sent to you, right? So the moment, it's crazy. The moment you decide that you want to hire someone so you can have more free time, your inbox gets flooded, and you get overwhelmed, and you have to go through all those resumes. So imagine, guys, how long do you think it takes to go through 300 resumes? All right, go ahead and put it in the chat box. How many hours do you guys think? Oh, very good. Someone guessed it. Roughly about 20 to 40 hours of your own time to go through those 300 resumes. I mean, wow, it's just crazy, right? And I said to myself, there's got to be easier, right? I mean, but the reality is this is the way that things are, right? So what I had to do is I had to go through all those resumes. And, by the time I finally went through them, this is what happened. 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, the first thing that happens is the time gap punishment, which is this. The moment you go through all the resumes and you go through 3 weeks and you pick a couple of the few that are fantastic, those people have already been hired by someone else because you took too long. Because you weren't fast enough. So you end up losing the top candidates. So the second thing that happens is you end up wasting time going through resumes through people who I call looky-loos. These are the people who are told by their friends and family to post their resume and see how much they're worth if they ever want to switch jobs. So you go through their resumes, you check the references, and you wasted your own time. The next problem, I call this behind the mask problem. So let me tell you, this is when you go through a resume and you have 2 types of people. You have a person that created a WordPress blog last week, and on the resume they put that they're a ninja expert in WordPress blogs. Well, so what happens? They're pretty much a liar. The other side of the spectrum is you have someone who's very skilled, and because in other parts of the world, like the Philippines and other countries, their mommy and daddy teaches them from little that it's very important to be humbled. So instead of putting on their resume that they're a 5 or a 6 on, they put, instead of putting that they're a 9 or 10 on the resume, they put they're a 5 because they want to be humbled. And they put that they're okay. Now the problem in Western cultures, like where we're from, if someone doesn't brag about themselves and say, I'm great at this, we overlook them. Right? But this is very common in foreign countries for them to be humbled. So what do? We end up hiring the liar. We end up hiring the person who brags how they're an expert and they sound perfect. And so what happens? We hire them, we let everyone else know that they're not hired, and 3 weeks pass by before they complete a task that it should only take them a few days. And we made the wrong choice. But now we let them go, we paid them for 3 weeks of work. And now you have to start the hiring process all over again, spend 40 hours going through resumes. Congratulations, you just made your life a living hell. Where you wanted to outsource and have more free time. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, let me hear an amen in the chat box if this ever happened to you, right? Or if you can see the problem with this. Now that goes back to my Baptist days. Okay, amen. Well, yeah, it's crazy, right? Now, this is how 99% of all other business owners do when they decide to outsource. And that's why I decided to do something about it. Now, if you think about it, when you decide to go through a whole bunch of resumes, it's like finding a needle in a haystack to find that one perfect candidate. And, and you're doing all the work. So I went through several years of my life doing this, and it was driving me insane. I remember one time specifically, I need to hire someone to do some, advanced business solicitation emails for me. And I posted a job. I got about, a couple hundred resumes. And I didn't have time to go through them. And I gave the resumes to my wife. And 2 hours later, my wife came into the room with a stack of resumes I printed out, and she said, Gonzalo, if you want to ever again sleep in the same bed as me, you better take the stack of resumes away from me. Because she was totally frustrated. Now, of course, you guys know what I did, right? I threw those resumes right in the trash. And that's when I asked myself, and I thought, I was trying to find an answer, and I came across this quote by Mark Twain, and I love it. It says, whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect. And that's when I said to myself, I need to ask myself better questions. So the first question I asked myself is, what if I could turn this whole system on its head? Right? Why am I doing all the work when people want to work for me? And the next question I asked myself is, what if I could use tools, technology, and automation to filter out all the crappy candidates in the beginning? I mean, guys, we live in the world of technology. Why aren't we using this to make our life easier? So that's when I said to myself, it was ludicrous to hire people the normal way. It's like digging for gold and going through a bunch of dirt, right? So that's, and it was taking up all my time. And that's when I decided to look at things very differently. So if you look at it here, the normal way of doing things is like a haystack. It looks like a pyramid, and you're going right from the top, and you're going through all the hay until you can find that one needle in the haystack. That's that perfect candidate. So I decided to turn that whole pyramid upside down. And if you look at it on the right-hand side, it looks like an upside-down funnel, like a sales funnel. So I'm going to go ahead and, guys, we're going to go ahead and go into the system right now on how to automate and systemize your hiring process. And if you have Facebook open or anything else, go ahead and close it and pay very close attention. You want to take out a notepad and piece of paper, and we'll go right into the content. All right, guys? So in the top of the content, in the top of the system, you try to get as many people in your job posting as possible. And through the whole funnel, it automates everything for you. So at the end of the funnel, you're left with 3 to 5 candidates who are the best people, and now you can go through their resumes and interview them. So you go roughly from 40 hours of time to roughly 15 to 30 minutes of your own time to hire someone. All right? And literally, by going through the system, you end up hitting a home run every single time. All right, so here we go. The first part, and the most important part, is your job posting. The job of the job posting is to attract as many people into your funnel as possible, right? Because you're not going to be going through these people. The system's going to be doing this for you. And the easiest way to attract as many people into your job posting as possible is to have a great title for your job posting when someone's going through, looking the classifieds to find the job. So in the top here, you'll see virtual assistant, telephone researcher needed, right? Article underneath, article writer, WordPress blog, SEO. Now, highlighted here in red is mine. Advanced virtual assistant with very good English writing skills wanted. Work for a great company, weekly pay, plus bonuses, plus 13-month pay, plus sick days, plus vacation days, and plus holidays. Now, if you were an employee, who would you apply with a job for? Right, because a lot of employers don't think about this. When you're creating a job posting, your job is to put yourself in the mind of the employee. They don't care about your company. They care about themselves, right? So here's the screen capture of job postings, and boom, which one do you think stands out the best out of all these? If you're looking for a job, exactly, you're going to say the one with the red arrow because that's the one that's mine, right? Now, so the first thing is to have a great title for your job posting that is benefit-oriented, which benefits the employee. Now, the second thing is to make your job and your company seem like a real, incredible company, right? Now, if you think about it here, most job postings, look the same. They talk about, how they want you to work for them, blah, 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 right? And nothing really stands out, right? It looks like everyone else. I'm going to show you a technique on how to have one specific thing in your job description that's going to make employees, and the best employees, beg to work for you. Now, the one technique that I discovered by mistake, and I did it for myself to begin with, is using video. So what did I do? I created a 4 to 5 minute video, and we're going to go ahead and give the link for you guys to have the script and a sample at the end of the webinar, so you guys can have it as a sample for you, that talks about yourself, your company, and a little bit about what you do, and tells them the requirements that they have. Think about it. How often have you seen a job posting that has a video? Almost never. Now, I know what some people might say, Gonzalo, I can't record a video. I'm shy. I will even teach you how to record a video and have someone else do it, the whole thing for you, record it, write it for $5 without you even having to be in front of the camera, right? So you can literally outsource that for $5. You know, the truth be told, I'm a pretty lazy guy. I don't like to do work, so I literally outsource everything in my business. So once you have the job posting with a great title and you have a video talking about your company and people are, you know, going crazy to apply with a job with you, they send you an email with their resume that you say, hey, please email me here, and boom, you get an email. Now, as soon as the email comes to you, in our system, I'm going to show you how to have an automated canned response. Then an email gets sent to them and saying, hey, John, thanks for applying to work for me. Your resume looks fantastic. And the first thing that I want you to do is to take a set of test tasks so we can test your skills. Now, the reason I do this is I don't want to look at any resumes until they've been tested. So our system automatically emails them back, says, congratulations, here's some links to some test tasks that you need to do, and you need to complete these 4 test tasks within 24 hours. Now, these test tasks test a couple of things. The reason why I do it within 24 hours is I want to see how well they can work under pressure, because a lot of people can't handle pressure, and we don't want those people. So the first test task that we do is we give them an online typing test. In the online typing test, it tests to see how fast they can type and how accurate they are. Really, why this is important, it tells you how good they are with computers. If someone can type between 40 to 70 words per minute, guess what, guys? They're familiar with computers. I know what you say, some people can be slow typers and good with computers. Really, we don't want those people because they will slow down the whole process. So the second thing that you test them for is you have them install a piece of software called Jing, and it tests to see how well they can learn a new piece of software. And they use the software to share their test results with you. The third task that they have to do is they take an online internet speed test to see how fast and reliable their internet connection is. Now, this is a big issue with international markets and international employees. Even though someone could be great with computers, have a fast computer, if they have a slow internet connection, like a dial-up connection or a slow broadband, no matter how good they are in typing and using software, they're going to be slowed down. So we test their internet speed to make sure they have a fast internet connection. And the last test task that we do is I have them write something called a cold email. Now, what is a cold email? A cold email is a solicitation email. This solicitation email is I provide them 4 resources, and those 4 resources tell me, tell them and teach them how to write a cold email. This tells me how well they can comprehend and read and apply what they read. So then I give them an example of my product, and they have to solicit someone and write a solicitation email and give me a sample of how they solicit business and partnerships for my company. This tests how fluent they are in English and how well they can write. Now, once they do that, guys, and they can submit those test results to me, the system sends another automated email that says, hey, congratulations. Wow, you did a great job in doing the first set of test tasks. And now you're going to have to do a second set of test tasks. Now, the reason I do that is I want to see how well they can handle pressure. They have to do these test tasks within 24 hours. And this really going to show you is the people who are persistent and consistent skills and personalities, right? You know what happens is sometimes people can be hired and they get very excited and then they get overwhelmed or frustrated and they disappear. When you do a second set of test tasks for them, you weed those people out. Now the tests are very similar to the first set of the test tasks before, but there's one major difference. One of the critical tests that I have them do is a customer service email. I give them a scenario of an unhappy customer, and they have to create a response for me. This tells me how well they can research and how good they are at critical thinking and problem solving, how well they can put themselves in the shoes of the customer. The person who completes this task well is where you're going to find the all-star candidate for you. Now, only when they do this, the 300 people do this, that's when I get involved. Now they submit these test results for me, and now I give you a sheet that allows you to grade the people in the database. And it takes you roughly about 10 minutes, and you grade them A, B, C. And once you grade them based on their English and other things that I give you to grade them on, you end up finding 3 to 5 candidates that you invite them to the last part of the process. So you go from literally like 300 people, maybe sometimes 500 people, to 3 to 5 candidates, and it takes you up to this point 10 minutes instead of 40 hours. I mean, it's amazing, right? So once you have those 3 to 5 candidates, I give you a template that you invite them onto a Skype chat interview. Now, the reason I do a chat interview is I want to test them again how well they can type and how well they can communicate and think on their feet. Now, guys, I provide you with a template script that I have even given my own son to do this for me. Now, I have 3 kids. I have a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 10-year-old. And I have my 14-year-old literally copy and paste the questions as the candidates answer them, so I don't have to do them. And I do this because I want to teach my 14-year-old how to be a boss and how to have his own business. So I have my 14-year-old do this. Now, these questions will test their skills, ask them about software knowledge, when they can work, all those type of things. But more importantly, I have one question that I ask them that gets them to tell you the truth about their weakness. Also, I provide you a script that helps you negotiate the salary for you, so you don't even have to think about it. I even show you a trick on how to get 2 candidates for the price of 1. Right? I show you how to actually get them to work for you for the first month for half the salary. So instead of $250 a month, you can have 2 people work for you for $125 each. So if you have 2 candidates that are really good, you can test them out for a month, and it really doesn't cost you, very much, right? The next part is once you have that, you extend the job offer to them, and I provide you a template, so you don't have to come up with it. And it tells them like how to get set up, what are the company policies, the working hours, like all those type of things, how they get paid, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, I'm going to give you a short recap of the system, and then we're going to go into the additional material, including how to get those $250 to $300 employees a month, how to get those employees to pay for themselves using lead generation so that they don't cost you anything. So if you look at the funnel here, the first part is you get as many people in the job posting as possible to apply with you. Once they see a great title and a description, they see the video, and they send your resume to you. An automatic response gets sent to them saying, great, thanks for applying. Here's your first set of test tasks. Once they complete that, a second email gets sent out. Hey, great, you have to complete the second set of tasks, including the customer service email response. And then they get invited, then they get graded, then they get invited to a Skype interview with you, the top 2 to 5 candidates. And you extend the job offer, and you can get 2 candidates for the price of 1 for the first month. So you go literally from 40 hours of having to do this for roughly about 30 minutes of your own time. Now, when I did this, I was like, wow, this is amazing, right? But, and I was doing this for several years, but there was one missing piece. So let me share this story with you. I had an employee, her name was Joy, and she was an amazing employee. For the first 3 weeks, she was on the ball, working great. But after 3 weeks, what happens is I started noticing her productivity going way down. She would have excuses like, hey, I'm sick today, I can't work. The next week, her son was sick, so she couldn't work as many hours or work weird hours. So, have you ever got that weird feeling in your stomach that something is wrong? Yeah, I had that feeling. So what did I do? I went and found her Facebook profile, and her profile was public. And I was reading her post, and I noticed one post on her wall that she was bragging to her friends how she was working for 2 employers at the same time. She had 2 full-time employees, 2 full-time jobs for 2 employers at the same time. She was conning both of us. So she was bragging to her friends about it. And first I got really sick. Then I got sad. Then I got pissed, right? I was taken for a fool. One thing you guys got to know about me, when I hire full-time employees, I make it very clear to them that they can only work for me and no one else. So that's when I said, I needed to find, a way to find out exactly if I'm getting all the hours I'm paying for. So I did a search out there, and there was a piece of software out there like Odesk that will do a screen capture of an image of their screen once every like 10 or 15 minutes. And that software allowed them to remove the image and put another one in. Like, how is that going to help me, right? Oh, and then there was some complicated software that had graphs and charts, and it said, hey, this employee had Microsoft Word open for 5 hours and had PowerPoint open for 3 hours. Guys, this is not going to help me knowing if they're working on my stuff or someone else's. So what happened? I thought to myself, ask yourself better questions, kind of like the Mark Twain thing, right? And I said, the perfect solution for me, now, and I thought about this, I love videography. I love, film and things like that. And one thing I love watching with my kids is the Animal Channel and like the nature channels, right? And I notice in those videos sometimes they have something called time lapse. So what is that? Time lapse videos are when they record a video of like a seed growing. Instead of going in slow motion, it goes super fast, right? So I said to myself, the perfect solution will be something that can record 8 hours of video of their desktop of them working, but I don't have to watch it in 8 hours. If I want, I can speed up using time lapse and watch 8 hours of video in 3 minutes. So I went and I worked with my Russian programmer, some smart mathematician guy, and I said, listen, this is what I want. And a couple of weeks later, he came back and said, Mr. Paternoster, this is the solution I have for you. So right now, I'm going to play you a recording because, if I show through the webinar, sometimes it skips and, the speed of the internet, it shows it a little bit choppy. But when you have it in your own system, it's smooth video, and hopefully I won't have it very choppy here. So I'm going to show you a demo right now of a system that I call JoyProof.
Hi everyone, welcome to JoyProof, the only tool that guarantees you get all the hours you're paying for from your remote employees. I just wanted to do a quick demo to show you how this software works and how easy it is to use. Your employee will be able to install JoyProof in less than 2 minutes on any computer. Once they install it, they'll click on the JoyProof shortcut icon to open the program. Before they use it for the first time, they'll choose the default settings that you want. First, they'll choose the video capture rate that you want, which will record either 1, 5, or 10 frames per minute. The higher the number, the more detailed the video will be. So we recommend using either 5 or 10. Unless your employee's internet connection is extremely slow, then you can have them choose 1. Next, they'll choose the private folder location that you want the videos to go to using your free cloud storage provider, either Dropbox, Google Drive, or Microsoft SkyDrive. After the settings are chosen, all they have to do is click the Start Working button and the timer will begin, showing that JoyProof is recording their computer screen while they work. When they're done working, they click the Stop Working button, and the JoyProof video is automatically sent to your private folder. You can access your employee videos anytime from anywhere. Just go to your private folder and begin watching. You can increase the speed of the video playback if you just want a quick overview of your employee's workday, or decrease the speed of the playback to see more details. At the end of the video, you can see how long they actually worked by looking at the JoyProof timer. And there you have it. You can watch 8 hours of work in as little as 3 minutes and never again wonder if you're getting all the hours you're paying for from your remote employees.
So guys, when I got that back from my guy, I was literally blown away. I was like, holy crap, this is amazing, right? Once I implemented these with my employees, their productivity went up 300 to 400%. So if you think about it, if someone was working for me for 8 hours, it's like literally they were working for me 24 hours a day. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the gentleman. His name is Tim Ferriss. He wrote a book called The 4-Hour Workweek. He explains and he talks about a principle on his blog called the Hawthorne Principle, which means this: the moment that someone knows their behaviors watch, their behavior changes. Now think about it. It's human nature to waste time, right? I'm not saying that your employees are going to go out there and cheat on you, waste time with other jobs. But think about it. Have you ever been on Facebook or YouTube and you say, oh, let me go there for 1 minute, and then you realize you click on some images and some links, and then 3 hours passes? If you think about your own behaviors, we're all guilty of this. My employees, the moment that they knew that they were being watched, they started working better. Now, my employees told me that they love having JoyProof on their system because they never have to prove that they're actually working, right? They know that it shows me that they actually are being productive. Now, I don't watch the 8-hour, the videos anymore because I have someone else do that for me. But realistically, it takes you 3 minutes to look at their workday, and you don't have to do it every day, right? It gets uploaded to your cloud storage, and you can be on the road. You can, be on your laptop, phone, and you can watch these videos. So you can take this whole system and do it yourself, right? And it'll take you maybe a couple of years to figure everything out, at least several months, each part of the system, right? Or if you really value your time, you have a second option, which I provide you a complete system for you, which I call it the Outsourcing All-Star Automation System, which is on how to hire, manage, and train your outsourced employees for you. And then I provide you JoyProof, which is a software to make sure that you're getting all the hours you're paying for. Now, I promised later on in the webinar, I'm going to show you how to get those employees to pay for themselves. But let me go ahead and explain right now a little bit about the system. Now, one of the things you have to figure out is this in your life. It took me roughly about 7 years to about 10 years to come up with this whole process, and I've been using JoyProof, the monitoring software, for several years now. And the reason I did this and I want to outsource is because the most important thing that we have in our lives is our time, right? That's true freedom. It's not about having a fancy car, a bigger house, getting stuck in that, trap of having more stuff. It's really about having more time to do the things that you want to do. It's really our job is to stop doing all the small tasks that get in our way, right? This changed my life, and it's changed my customers' lives. Now, and I want you guys to think about this. We all had moments in our lives that we said to ourselves, one day when I have more time, I'm going to take that dream vacation, right? One day when I make enough money and I have more time, I'll be able to work out. I'll be able to have time to exercise, be healthy, right? And I'm going to go a little bit more into that later, but let me explain the Outsourcing All-Star Automation System, right? The first module, I talk about and go over the job posting, right? How to post a job that will attract hundreds and hundreds of people to you and get them to apply to work for you, the best candidates, right? Then I give you the canned email and the automatic email that gets sent back to people and show you how to do that in our system. The second module talks about the test that you will have them do, that they have to do within 24 hours. I provide you the scripts, the online typing test, right? How to weed out all the crappy candidates. Then in module 3, I talk about how to find real talent, right? And that's the second set of test tasks. Specifically, how to find that all-star employee that answers the customer service, that is the person that you're going to say to yourself, how did I ever live without this person? And how to get them for $250. In module 4, I teach you how to grade the candidates and how to invite them to the Skype interview and how to really ask the questions to yourself on how to weed out the people who are no good. And then I give you the scripts for the Skype interview to you what to say that you can literally copy and paste so you don't have to think about it. And I show you the technique on how to identify and ask questions that show them and they tell you their weaknesses. And the technique on how to get 2 candidates for the price of 1. 2 people for $125 each. I mean, it's amazing. In module 6, I show you how to make a job offer. And I give you that template on how to negotiate salary and show you how to pay them a lot less than you thought you would pay them. I also provide you a template for your compensation package that you present to them, like their time off, the number of work days they have to do, the hours, all that kind of stuff. I then also provide you with the JoyProof software, which is a software that takes 2 minutes to install on any computer. You're able to watch 8 hours of video in 3 minutes, and it guarantees that you get all the hours you pay for. You can watch the videos on any computer, tablet, or phone, PC or Mac. So if you're on vacation, you can check your employees. It works with Dropbox, Google Drive, and SkyDrive. Now, I want to make you aware that this software right now sells directly with people that I solicit at $50 a month per employee per license. So you pay on a monthly basis. Now, Chris told me that, for his group, he wouldn't have that I would have to provide licenses that you can have for your employees that you pay one time and that's it. You never pay again. Now, I'm also providing, and I'm going to talk a little bit later on about the lead generation. I'm going to show you some techniques on how to do that, how to get your employees to pay for themselves. But the first bonus that I provide is I provide you my remote employee welcome package. So what is that? That took me 3 months to develop, which is the package that I provide them that it orients them and welcomes them to the company, tells them exactly what they have to do, what software they need to install, sets up their company email, what project management software we use, so that you don't have to talk to them for the first 3 days of hiring them. They do all this busy work that you don't even have to get involved in. So your new employees into your company. And this is huge. This saves you hours and hours of time. The second bonus I provide you is the best outsourcing sites roadmap. I teach you on what are the sites you should actually use to find employees and which ones to avoid. But more importantly, I tell you which countries you should hire from and which countries you should never hire people from. All right? And I have some additional bonuses. I'm going to go into that. The next bonus is the Facebook private group. That is a group that you get asked to join, that you can interact with everyone who has bought the system. And it's a private group that we have all our members in there. And I'm going to go ahead and show you that right now, that our guys interact with, that you guys can interact with, ask questions. I mean, if you look at the group, it's like super, super active. Ideas, suggestions, best practices, how to use your outsourced employees to pay for themselves. I mean, the group is super active. You get exclusive access to this group. All right? The next thing I want to talk about now is one of the big benefits about the Facebook group is you're able to see and interact with people. And here's just some testimonies I just screen captured for you guys on what some people are saying about the course. If you look down here, Shelly, thank you, Gonzalo. I've seen a huge increase in the work my VAs have been getting done in just a couple of days since we started using JoyProof. Justin here on the right. Well, a month later, I got 2, and one of them is great English, typed and on the phone. Once you do appointment setting, it's cost me $350 for the first month, right? Tom here says, system has been perfect and so simple to use and couldn't thank you enough. And I'm loving the canned responses. One of the things you guys got to know about the system is when I created the system, I had my mother-in-law, who's 60 years old, go through the system because I said to myself, if I can have her hire and manage a person and go through my system who's not computer literate, anybody can do this. All right? The next thing I'm going to show you here is the 2 choices for the system here. The first choice in option 1 is you get the outsourcing all-star automation system, which has the complete how to find, hire, and manage your people and how to train them, plus 3 lifetime licenses for employees for $197. So what are considered lifetime licenses? Literally, if you have 3 people working for you and let's say one of them leaves, you can transfer that license to a new employee. In option 2, it's the same thing. You get the outsourcing all-star automation system plus 10 licenses of JoyProof for 10 employees for $497. But I also have an additional bonus. If you buy the option 2, you get a 60-minute phone consult with me that I share with you exactly how I get my employees to pay for themselves, how I use my employees for lead generation. And I'm now going to go ahead and go into that and teach you some things you can do so your employees don't cost you anything. So before you guys go ahead and choose, I'm going to show you some examples of what people say about the one-on-one phone call with me. Yesterday, I had my one-on-one with Gonzalo, and it solidified that JoyProof was the right decision. If you have not taken advantage of your coaching call with him, you should really book it as soon as possible. This is not the same warned over generic stuff on outsourcing. Rarely in the internet space have I seen someone whose product not only does exactly what he says, but more. However, I can get it when you spend some time with the man behind the product. Now, Terry here says, we found the same thing with our consultation with Gonzalo Paternoster. My partner Anthony and I have had huge breakthrough moments and have been implementing the ideas. I think that this has been one of the most valuable purchases we've ever made. Terry here says, this program has been phenomenal. I really appreciate all the little things that are so often left out in training programs. I used to hope it would work out. Now I have a system that will teach me. I appreciate Gonzalo's team. And Jonah here, the training is step by step, literally, and that is rare. Now guys, one thing you have to know about me, when I create a system or product, I hate going through products that teach you like a general thing, but don't teach you the step-by-step system. And the biggest thing is I hate going through courses that take forever. My system you can do literally in one afternoon, right? I don't have any fluff. I don't have any BS. I go straight to the point. Now in our system, I also provide a 30-day money-back guarantee that no matter if you don't like my English or whatever, no questions asked, you ask for a refund, you get a complete refund. Now I'm going to talk about some additional bonuses I provide, and I'm going to show you the back-end system, and then I'm going to talk about how I actually teach you how to use your outsourced employees for lead generation, and I'm going to show you some examples of this right now. So let me tell you a little bit about myself and what business I'm in. My main business is I do high-end lead generation. So what does that mean? My background is in real estate and mortgage and also in investment banking. So when I do a transaction, I was used to people paying me thousands and tens of thousands of dollars for helping them get business. So what I do is I have my outsourced employees generate leads for me that people pay me on a success base, right? So I'm gonna walk you some examples of how you can use your employees to generate money for you right now. and I'm going to show you the back-end system. So once you purchase the course, and I'm going to show you right here, is you're able to log in. You get a login to our system, which gives you the training modules, right? Once you do that, I provide you bonuses after you go through the course on how to hire and test programmers, how to write job postings, how to test and hire graphic artists for you. And here's the best outsourcing sites roadmap for you. How to pay your outsourced employees, how to test and select writers for your company. And here's the template for you. I also provide 6 weeks of additional training, one new training every week that you get on how to use something that I call the Merlin principle, which is how I create products and the system on how to get things done really fast. In week 2, I show you how to train your outsourced employees, and I'll go over that a little bit today. How to manage and outsource the management of your outsourced employees. How to outsource micro tasks. And more importantly, I teach you how to do lead generation with your outsourced employees. How to get those employees to pay for themselves. All right? Also, I'm going to go ahead and go right into that right now. And I'm going to show you exactly how to get your employees to pay for themselves. Now, if you do the one-on-one phone call with me, let me go back here, previous, is I will even show you how I use my guys to generate leads for my companies and how to get them to generate partnerships. So I'm going to go ahead and go right into that, and I'm going to give you some examples. So in my business is I generate leads, high-end leads for different examples of businesses. The first business I generate leads for are personal injury attorneys. Now, I'm going to show you in one of my systems here, one of my guys, Giselle, every day he is soliciting DUI attorneys for us to generate leads for them. I also have solicited personal injury attorneys throughout the country that while I'm sleeping, this guy is sending something called canned emails on my behalf. And I'm going to share a little bit about my system. If you do the one-on-one phone call with me, I'm going to give you access to all that and show you exactly how you can apply it to your business. So I'm going to go ahead and go right into that right now. So if you think about it, one of the most powerful things in business is, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the gentleman, his name is Dan Kennedy. Dan Kennedy is a gentleman who talks a lot about direct mail, which is sending personalized mail pieces through the postal service to business owners. Now, if you think about it, if you send one mail piece to a business owner, it will cost you roughly between $1 to $2 per mail piece. Now, if you do the math, if you were to have your employees send out, and which is what my guys do, a personalized email to these business owners, my typical $250 employee can send out roughly about 300 emails per day. But let's be conservative and say they only send out 100 emails per day. Roughly, that is 20 work days in a month. That's roughly 2,000 emails in a month. In a year, they can send out roughly 24,000 emails. If you were going to pay for that in the postage, that will cost you between $24,000 to $48,000. My guys, for their yearly salary, cost me $300. Right? Now, the reason I do this is, I don't know if you remember this. Back several years ago, they passed some spam laws that say that you cannot send mechanically generated emails to people. They would have to be one-on-one emails. So most people, if you think about your email box, you don't really get spam very often unless you sign up for like someone's email list. So my guys send out emails, personalized messages to thousands and thousands of business owners and potential partners on my behalf. And it cost me $250. Right? Now, my high-end lead generation is, I do lead generation, for example, for, I don't know if you guys know this, but private jets have to have their jets reupholstery every 4 to 8 years. To do that, it costs roughly about $40,000 to $80,000. I do lead generation for a company that does that. I also do lead generation for a high-end software, and I'll give you an example. There's a piece of software that is software for medical laboratories. That company pays, their software costs $100,000. And I met this guy at one of my kids' daughter's soccer games. And I was kind of chit-chatting, saying, hey, what do you do? And he said, oh, I do sales management for a software company that sells software for medical laboratories. I'm like, really? That's kind of interesting. And he said, hey, that software, and it's not $100,000, it's actually $500,000. It's $500,000. And he told me, yes, wow, that's amazing. And I told him that was amazing. I'm like, well, how much does it cost you to get one sale? He says, roughly about $100,000. I was like, holy moly. It cost them, to their sales team, $100,000 to get one sale. And I'm like, wow, how do you guys find these people? There's roughly a list of about 2,000 medical laboratory directors in the country. And we call them, we do mailings for them. And so let me ask you a question. If I were to solicit and get you business, would you pay us a commission? Would you pay us half the commission? So instead of paying us $100,000 that you pay your salespeople, because they can't really afford to hire too many people, would you pay me half of that, $50,000? He goes, yeah. But I said, listen, I don't want to call these people. I don't want to talk to them. I want to get the leads to you. Instead of you paying me $50,000, how about even $25,000? And then the leads go to your people and they close them. He's like, sure. That's what I have my guys do. I have my guys solicit. And here's the funny part. He had the names of all 2,000 medical directors. So what did I do? I had my guys find the Facebook profiles of all these 2,000 medical directors and had marketing campaigns on Facebook that said something like, and when it would log into Facebook, it would say something like, is your medical laboratory causing you headaches? Are you tired of being home past 5 o'clock? Our software can get you home on time. So think about it. Have you ever seen anybody do ads like that on Facebook? Of course not. So literally for pennies, for advertisement, we were able to get several sales for this company, and they would pay us tens of thousands of dollars in commission, and my guys were costing me $250. Now, I'm going to show you some techniques right now that you guys can apply to be able to do this for yourself. Now, if you do the one-on-one phone call with me, you'll be able, and I'll talk some additional bonuses, you'll be able to actually learn from me on how I do this, and I'll show you some of my own techniques on how to do this for your own businesses. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with, and Chris, tell me if I need to go more into this. Are you guys familiar with product launches?
I don't know. I assume some are. If you guys are interested in product launches, whether you've done them or not, I know what you're going to share. It's something anybody can do on the call. So why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about that? Because
Sure.
This is another way to have the outsourcers earn money for you. Say, for example, you don't have enough work to give them. If you're in one of those situations, they can continue to earn money for you.
Right. So that's the first thing that people say to me. Say, hey, Gonzalo, I want to hire someone, but I don't have enough work for them. One of the things that people don't realize is the moment you hire someone, you end up making more money. Specifically, if you have your guys do what I teach you, which is the first thing that when you hire a person, the first thing you want to train them on, and you can go through my training, and in the 497, I can do that one-on-one with you on how you can apply it, is for them to do lead generation for you. So one of the things I teach you guys about is something called launch jacking. Launch jacking is this. Every week, several different companies in the internet marketing space and in other industries, they launch software or solutions, and they have this major launch that they sell thousands and thousands of software solutions. So for example, several months ago, maybe now 6 months ago, there was a product that was launched about Facebook advertising. And that company was paying several $100s in commission for people who referred business to them. So when they do an ad, when they do a launch, they'll have like a video tutorial that they'll have like 4 launch videos, and they'll have one video showing how it works. And then a couple of days later, they have another video. And underneath the video, they have comments, Facebook comments that people post, like, oh, I'm excited, about this software. Oh, I can't wait till this comes out. This is done for social proof, for people to show proof that people are interested in the product. And they'll have hundreds, sometimes thousands of comments underneath those videos. So what I do is I have my guys at $250 go out and surf the web pages of these launches, and I'll give you the resource on how to find these launches. And they'll do something very simple. They'll private message those people and say, hey, John, I noticed that you're going to buy this product. If you're going to buy it, if you buy it through my link, I will give you free bonuses if you buy it through my link. So what I did, and this is great, I had my guys find people on Fiverr that were selling credits, gift certificates, coupon codes for Facebook and Google advertising. So if you open an account with them, you get like free $50 or $100 in advertising. And I had them buy a whole bunch for $5. And then this guy that was, these people that were buying these Facebook advertising courses said, hey, if you're going to buy this, this software, buy through my link and you'll get these bonuses. My guys were generating several sales a day from messaging people like that, because they were going to buy it anyway. Guys, there's thousands in a year of launches in the US and throughout the world that your guys can do this simple technique. So what I do is this: when I hire someone for the first time, and I tell this, the main thing is to hire them for the first task is for lead generation. The reason I do this is, imagine you want someone to do WordPress blogging, and other things for you, graphic design, general administrative work. The problem is when you hire someone for the first time, you may not have enough work. So when you hire them for lead generation, I hire them for that first purpose first. I train them, I have them do this for several weeks, and then they do lead generation for about a period for 2 to 3 weeks. They generate money for me. So if they get one sale in a month, which is crazy, I mean, that's nothing, it pays for their salary. So my guys don't cost me anything. My typical guy who does lead generation has to do at least 10 to 20 times their salary in generating income for my company, or they're out. And the reason why, so if you're paying some guy $250 a month, they should at least be generating $2,000 to $3,000 for you as an employee. And by using this technique that I teach you guys in the system, launch jacking, they can do that for you all day long. Now, when you have them do lead generation, like cold emailing for you, they can do cold calling, cold emailing, and I'm going to go a lot more into that. They can do all these things for you, and they do this for a period for 2 to 3 weeks. Now, I have them do the tasks that they were originally hired for. So if they're going to make PowerPoint presentations, writing things for you, general accounting things for you, then they default back into that. And then you train them for that. Now, my guys know this. The moment that I don't have tasks to give them, they always default back to lead generation. That's the biggest frustration people have when they don't have enough work. It's like, what can I give them? I have to make up work to get them work. Well, if you have your guys doing lead generation for you, you don't have to come up with that yourself, right? They always are bringing business for you. Half the guys who work for me and they do lead generation. I have 45 employees that work for me and half of my guys do lead generation. Right? So I have 3 guys on a daily basis. All they do is they surf Facebook and Twitter for simple little things. Now, I'll give you an example. There's a web hosting company called HostGator. HostGator will pay you a $100 commission for every person that you refer to them. So when someone goes on Twitter and says, hey, I'm looking for a good web hosting company, I have my guys email them, tweet them personally, and boom, a $100 commission. Right? And it's that simple. So that's just some examples that I I'm sharing with you. Now, Chris, I want to go ahead and open up to questions, and we can talk about, the one-on-one phone call with me. And I want to pull up a couple little things for the group here and kind of show them some examples of the quality of things that you guys. One of my modules here I share is about graphic design, and I'm going to show you right now. These are people for roughly about $2 to $4 an hour. These are the type of graphic artists that I hire on a part-time basis to work for me. And here's some samples of the lead generation images they create for me, right? These guys in the US would cost you $35 to $50 per hour. And I'm paying $2 to $4 an hour. It's a no-brainer, right? That's why you're able to do so much when you're able to get people for $250 to $300 an hour. I mean, $250 to $300 a month, because it's so cheap for them to generate business for you, right? That's why I'm able to have an army of people working for me. Now, one of the things that I talk about a lot and why people want to have the one-on-one phone call with me is I teach you how to apply lead generation for your company. Not just to generate leads, but for partnerships. Now, I think I did several months ago, I think maybe 6-7 months ago, is I love photography and video. And I recognized, my wife shared with me that there was a need in the marketplace for people to learn how to new moms to photograph their newborn kids. And I saw there wasn't any really good courses. So what I did is I paid a professor at a local community college who teaches photography to create for me a photography course for moms, right? So then I had my guys create a solicitation email and start soliciting mommy blogs all over the world who were making money from Google advertisement. So they were making maybe 25 cents a click, maybe a couple $100 a month from big blogs. And I said, listen, instead of you making a couple $100, why not promote my course, which is geared toward moms, about taking photos of your kids, and we pay you, half the commission. So they start earning thousands of dollars, and my guys were soliciting these partnerships for me without me ever getting involved. They started doing the same thing with YouTube channel owners. So people who had YouTube channels about photography and all that stuff, they now start posting links about my product on their blogs, on their mommy YouTube channel blogs, and they were getting commission every time someone bought. And my guys were doing this for me without me even getting involved. So one of the things that, Chris, that people, and we can talk about this, is they say, what can you have your guys do for you, right? Your outsourced team. I have my guys, and I teach you how to have your guys create advertisements for you, how to send cold emails for you, how to do cold calling for you. I have my guys cold call for me. Now, the thing about me, guys, because I have an accent and I just don't like to, cold call people, I outsource that. I teach you how to do that so you can have people calling for you to generate business for you, right? So let's go ahead and, Chris, let's go ahead and open it up to questions and and other things that you want to talk about, Chris, and see what people have questions about.
Okay, super. Here. So first of all, for the 20 or for the 1 hour, you're just offering 20 of those, right? And how many of them so far have been taken?
Sure. So let me go ahead and go into that right now. Let me log in, and so far, out of that, we have 11 of them have been taken. So we have 9 spots. So I only have, that's the important thing, guys. I only have 20 spots available, and already 11 are gone, so I have 9 left. And the reason I'm doing that is I don't really have time for 20, more than 20 one-on-one phone calls. So the moment that's done, I'm going to take it down and say, 0 left, because I really value my time. But I really like to have the one-on-one with you guys, because I show you exactly my own systems, and I show you my swipe files, my all the systems that I have, how I solicit lead generation. You can do it in your own company and do this as a business. and show you how you can apply it. I also, if you have questions about outsourcing other things, I share that with one-on-one with you. And that's the thing, guys. One thing you know about me, I come from a place of abundance. So everything that I have, I share with you like an open book. But that's only available in the one-on-one phone call with me. Because realistically, if I was going to share my systems with you, I don't want to create my own competition, right? Now, a lot of people use my systems and apply in different marketplaces, and that's fine. But I don't want to make it available to everyone.
Great, excellent. Hey, I want to add something in here, and I wasn't going to do this earlier, but I decided to go ahead and do that because it's you got to realize that the 60 minutes spent with him on here, he has spent the last 5-10 years of his life dedicating and working and perfecting at this, and to condense that down and to share with you all of his years of knowledge, it's an absolute bargain for what he's offering. But I manage 34 outsourcers myself, so I have a few things to share as well on here. So what I'd like to do, and this is just for the first 20, that's it, because 20 hours is a lot of time to spend with you guys, is I'll do one-on-one consultations. This is just on the webinar only. Not if you decide to get later, it's not going to apply. But I'll do a 1-hour consultation with anybody who purchases, so that way you get 2-hour consultations, 2 separate ones, 2 slightly different perspectives of how we run our businesses, and I can't imagine getting any more value than that. When you do that with me, I'll make sure that the call's recorded, because I'm going to talk fast. I'll have a lot to share with you. I'll start out with some of the biggest things that I've learned, but we'll also take it with any kind of questions that you have. It's your hour to spend with me. I'll make sure it's recorded. You get a copy of it. And any kind of links or sources that I use, I'll make sure to include those as well, so you can just take in and absorb. You don't have to sit down and write notes. And one of the main things that I use, and I didn't always use this, was Basecamp to monitor all of my employees and my project. I used to just use Skype and Dropbox, but I've evolved since then, and I'll be happy to open that up and show you exactly how I measure my employees' performance and how I can look at my entire businesses, online businesses, and just from a snapshot look at how they're profitable and which ones are, what I need to do, just by looking at a few key metrics that anyone can apply to any type of their business on here. So that's just going to be for the 20 people on this call today. If we don't sell them all, then that offer's over with. So, but that's just to incentivize you to get that little push over. And then in addition to that, I wanted to point out, as far as, I don't know how many of you out there can relate to this, but I've got a whole lot of high-end courses that I've purchased in the past, and I'm guilty of this. I've frankly purchased them, had every intent to use them, and they just collected dust on my hard drive. This is a great opportunity to take one of your outsourcers and have them learn and implement the course, and to finally get those off the shelf and incorporate those into your business while they're also doing lead gen for you as well. Getting a couple of questions.
Let me go into that, Chris. There's one thing I want to definitely go into there is the training your people. I mean, think about it, guys. And Chris mentioned this. How many of us have a shelf or a hard drive full of software or courses that we bought that we never implemented, right? And we're all guilty of this. And I'm going to talk about how I train my people and give you some hints about that, because this is crucial. Now, if you're looking at this beautiful, PowerPoint presentation, most people are like, "Oh, Gonzalo, your presentations are so beautiful. I mean, wow, they're amazing." I didn't do this. I had one guy for $250 a month employee, and this is how I train my people. I emailed him, and my outline of my presentation, say, "This is what I'm going to be talking about," right? And he said, "Well, Mr. Paternoster, I've never used PowerPoint before." Okay, no problem. There's a website called lynda.com that you pay $25, and it has like thousands of courses available. And in their system, like how to use PowerPoint, Excel, like courses like that, how to use WordPress, and I send them a link to the top 2 courses about PowerPoint. And so listen, I want you to go through these 2 courses, and it took him roughly a couple of days to do that, and 1 additional course. And it took him, like, let's say, like 3 or 4 days of his time to do this for me, which cost me roughly about $45, $50 out of my own pocket because he's a $250 employee. He went through that course, and then he got the outline from me, and 24, 48 hours later, he came back with this PowerPoint and said, "Mr. Paternoster, I hope you like it." So roughly for $60 of his time, he was able to become a PowerPoint ninja without me having to hire a person who's a PowerPoint expert. Like, if you ever go to some websites out there, the guy who was teaching the PowerPoint techniques, the course I sent him, was a guy who gets paid $10,000, $20,000 to make PowerPoints from companies like Harley Davidson, Apple Computer, and this guy was teaching these courses. So now I can take this one employee who's a PowerPoint ninja expert, and I can outsource him to do PowerPoints for other marketers and business owners, and I can make profits from him. So one of the things that people say is, they say, "Hey, Gonzalo, well, how do I train my people?" And there's roughly 3 techniques to train your employees. The first one is very simple. Let's say you have your own knowledge that you have in your own head that you want to take from your head to your employee. All you do is you use a software like Jing or screen recording software, and you hit record, and you just start talking. Now, this is where you're kind of like very raw. You don't worry about burping, hiccup, sneezes, or whatever. You just record it and you send it to them. Their job is for them to create that recording into a system, to make pretty images, to make the system for you. And guess what? Now, if you ever let go of that employee, they have a system for you. So that's the first way I train someone. The second way I train my employees is I use a service like lynda.com or YouTube, right? You Google like Excel or PowerPoint and YouTube or whatever software they need to learn. And they go through that course, and you have someone else train the people for you without you having to train them. It's a lot cheaper to hire someone who's smart, for them to spend 1 week to learn something, than hiring someone who's an expert in that. My system tests their skill level for intelligence on how to learn new things, how to work under pressure, so they have the capability to learn anything that you need them to learn. Now, the third way I train someone, and this is, this happened by mistake. One of the things I do is I go out and I use Google Analytics in a very advanced fashion for my business. Every time I had to do that, I had to pay like some guy a couple $100 every time he set up Google Analytics for me. And then I got smart. So I posted a job and said, instead of me just paying you a couple $100 to set up Google Analytics for me, and I was doing this like every week, I said, can you do it for me, but can you capture your screen and document it for me so that I can do it later on? So I had someone else who was an expert in something that you don't know how to do, and there's no like training for it. They do it for you, and they create the system for you. You outsource it. Now you have a documented system. So instead of paying a guy $250, $500 to do something for you, you have your employee at $250 a month. Now he can do it anytime you need it. So you can literally outsource someone else creating your systems for you. So Chris, I just wanted to share that, how I train my people so people can apply that for themselves. So let's go ahead and see what kind of questions that we have that I can answer.
Awesome, and I put that link in there that you just mentioned, and that's also a great source too. I actually bought into that. It's like $20 a month or something for my kids. You can literally learn. My kids are learning Photoshop, and they're learning programming by doing that. But anyways, it's a great resource. Sorry, I put it in the chat box there. A couple of questions here that keep coming up is, what if they get the 10 license package or the 3, and at a later date their business has grown and they need another 5 more licenses or something like that? How do they upgrade?
Sure. Okay. So this is what I tell people. So if you have, there's no upgrading after we have the webinar finish here. If you have a 3 licenses, you want to go to 10 licenses. The reason you have you can get 10 licenses is because you have more employees, and that means you're making more money. So you can afford to pay the additional $50 a month on a monthly fee. So after this, we get offline here and the webinar is over. Once we close it, there's no longer opportunity for you to upgrade. So if you really want the 10 licenses, just go for that. And you get the benefit of having the hour with me that show you my lead generation systems. I walk you through it, see how you can apply it, and then you get the hour that you can spend with Chris. So if you really want 10 licenses and want those two things, just go for it. Later on, if you want to upgrade, there's no opportunity for you to upgrade. So
yeah, if you upgrade again, it's going to be the regular price, which is a $50 per month, every month reoccurring, correct?
Yep, per employee.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's way more, much better on this one time. So a couple of the other questions on here. A lot of people are interested in the lead generation here, and for good reason. For example, even if you're not into offline marketing, the lead generation for offline businesses is very, very lucrative. For DUI attorneys and accident attorneys, for example, they pay up to $150 to $300 per click for Google AdWords, and these are firms that already have, $10,000, $20,000 budgets per month for Google AdWords. If you provide leads for them, you can charge a very similar price than that. That's an absolute goldmine niche to be in. That's something for you, for those of you who are a part of my pay-per-call Ninja course and our pay-per-call software. You already know that's what I do. That's my primary source of income. And the other question on here is, for people who are interested in the lead generation, whether it's offline or launch jacking, do you provide the training videos? How do they learn how to do that, and then how do they transfer that knowledge over to their new outsourcers?
Sure. So I provide training on how to outsource the lead generation and how to manage your people. Like, I provide you with my own systems on how to do that. Now, it's kind of like a general overview, and I give you exact real-world examples. But once, like, you have videos, I share with you some swipe files, all those type of things. Now, if you do it one-on-one with me, I then talk to you. You can ask me anything. So if you say, hey, Gonzalo, how do you do this part? I share with you the swipe files. Now, let me tell you how the one-on-one phone call works with me, okay? So the moment you decide you're ready for the one-on-one after you go through the course, I send you a little survey that you answer questions, like kind of like what your goal is, what's your business, and all those type of questions. Very simple. And I go over that, and I review and strategize on what would be the best thing for you. Then we have the phone call with me. It's a Skype, recorded phone call, and the reason I record it is I go literally like 300 miles an hour. The reason I do that is I want to make sure you get value, and I answer every question that you have, any possibility thing I cover. I record the phone call, and you get the recording 48 hours later, so you have access for that forever. I also, any resources I mentioned, websites, files that you need, I provide those also in a document as a link for you, so you have access to them. So if, let's say, for example, I do a lot of and we might kind of walk into that a little bit, but my system is so simple and powerful that anybody can apply it. Now, the reason I have a system that's simple and powerful is when you have foreign people doing these things for you, has to be systemized, right? I treat everything like McDonald's. I literally want to take someone from the street who's never done something and can do this for me. So everything is systemized, broken down, so that there's no broken parts in the system. So in the one-on-one phone call with me, you can actually spend time on how you can apply that for your business. So let's say, for example, you want to, and I'll share with you a simple technique. Let's say you want to land like offline clients, right? Like leads and things like that. I'll show you a strategy on how to actually do that. So I teach you how to actually land clients, and then we talk about how to actually apply the same technique to actually get clients for them. Because the technique is pretty much all the same, right? Because landing a customer for yourself or a client, one of the things you have to know about me is I don't like to be on the phone, and I talk a lot about and share with you my techniques on not only how to hire foreign people, but one of the things that people don't realize is you can even hire people in your own country, and I show you how to do that. And I show you a website, and I think I could probably pull it up right now while we're talking, is that people post that they have experience about cold calling, and they can go out and they'll make phone calls for you for roughly between $5 to $10 an hour. So let's say, for example, you have a list, and let me ask you, a list of businesses you want to acquire to send them leads. Chris, let me ask you, in your program, the typical person, how many potential local businesses do they have in there to send them leads?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, what we're doing is, say we've got we've got leads coming in through our pay-per-call program. Let's say in the Phoenix area, there's going to be about 20 at the most DOI attorneys that we'd want to work with. So they only need to contact those 20, and we just usually end up doing business with only one. So once they close one, that particular client is easily worth minimum of $5,000 per month with the leads we're generating, because they pay a lot of money for these leads.
Okay, well that's okay. So now do you see, guys, for someone at $250 and then they're paying for themselves using lead jacking, how it would be a no-brainer, right? For someone at $5,000 a month. So that's a little bit how I do it. Now I do things a little bit differently, and I can share with you that in my one-on-one with me. Because my background is in investment banking, I don't sell leads for people for $60 or $100, because I was used to always working on success base. So let me give you an example of this. So if you go to someone and say, hey, listen, I'm going to give you 5 leads at $60 each. I'm sorry, 10 leads. And they get one great lead that closes. Mentally, they're like, oh my, I paid for 9 leads that didn't generate anything. And they're like, oh, that just cost me money. And even though they're paying you, let's say $600, and they made $10,000 from a client, they'll still kind of sometimes to me complain about like, oh, I just paid $60. So I changed that. I have them pay me on success base, so I record the phone calls, the tracking, I do all that kind of stuff, and they pay me only in success. And I ask them for a percentage of the revenue or the profit. So sometimes I get as much as 25 to 50% of the profits for generating them sales. So it's weird. People will pay you $5,000 to get them a sale, but they'll complain about $60 for a lead, right? So I kind of do the thing that Mark Twain does, which is the opposite. So I do this for like real estate investors. I have my own real estate company. They do this with realtors that pay me 25% of their real estate commission for every client I get them. Right? So in South Florida, a typical house sells for $300,000. 3% commission is $9,000. But let's say it's $10,000 to like make it like even rounded. 25% commission to me is $2,500. So let me give you a little technique that I did. I had my outsourced employees email divorce attorneys in Florida, in South Florida, and said, hey, we're a real estate company who specializes in divorce clients. We know it's a sensitive issue. We can help them. And then these divorce attorneys, they then send leads to my realtors who pay me 25% commission for every transaction that they close. So for me, I'd rather get $2,500 for every sale than $60 a lead. So, and if you want a one-on-one phone call with me, I can share that technique with you, exactly how I do it, and we can show you and then see how we can apply it to your business. So, so for example, on the divorce attorneys, they get emails from us. We do retargeting ads. I can show you exactly how retargeting works. That when we email them, they open up an email, and ads follow them throughout the internet. And I teach you exactly what are the best ads that work the best for that. And then here's the most powerful thing, guys. I teach you and share with you when you cold email someone how to get those people, when they open up the email, you'll say a simple thing like this, like the system, and I'll show you how to do this, notifies you, hey, this person just opened up the email. An hour later, one of my cold calling guys calls him and says, hello, Mr. Smith. I'm calling from so-and-so, and I sent you an email. I wanted to follow up if you had a chance to read it yet. Oh, that's kind of weird. I just opened up an hour ago. Yeah, tell me, how can you help my divorce clients or my personal injury clients or whatever it is, right? So that is an example of how we use technology. I'll teach you how to do that yourself to be exactly in the moment at the perfect time. So, my technique is I try to hit everyone in multiple angles, and I hate cold calling. So I'm going to give you some, here's a website they give you that you can use that has people that will work for you on a success. A couple ways they'll work for you. They'll work for you on a success base, right? Which means like if they get a sale, you pay them. And these are American people, guys, right? What on a success base or on a flat fee or a combination of both. So you can hire someone for $10 an hour to make phone calls for you, right? And realistically, if you have to, let's say you're soliciting 10 businesses, realistically, you're not going to need more than someone on a weekly basis, let's say 3 to 5 hours a week. Let's say you're paying them $10 an hour. That's costing you $30 to $50 a week for someone else to do the cold calls for you, right? It's worth it to me. I hate doing that kind of stuff, right? So I hire someone who specializes in cold calling. The mistake a lot of people do is they hire someone full-time to do everything for them. And if you hire someone who's very good at cold calling, for them to do emailing for you, it's not worth their time. That's why you use your guys at $250 an hour to do that for you, right? So that's one of the biggest differences. Hire each person for what they're good at, and sometimes it's better to hire them on an hourly basis and you use them on an as-needed basis, right? So in the one-on-one phone call, I can go over that with you, show you exactly how you can do it and how you can apply for your business. I also do this in foreign markets. I have one guy took my same technique and has applied this in Germany, in the UK, even though they speak the same language, and the same thing they can do the same thing in those countries, because no one's doing this, guys. Because most people say, I want to be internet, I don't do cold calls. My guys who do cold calling for me have a conversion rate of roughly about 10%, right? Because no one does it.
Hey, hold on just one second. I don't mean to interrupt you on this. I just want to go through this really quickly. Just thank these people on here. And I just let them know that they're in. John's in, Robert's in, Sue's in, Kim is in on here. Lynn, we've got 3 Brians that are in. Keith is in. Steve, Barry, Don. It's hard to keep up here. Trevor on here, and I'm afraid that we're either sold out or really close. So if you could just let me know where we are, because I can't see that screen.
Right now we have 2 spots left for the $497, guys. So whoever wants to take the last 2 spots, I'll answer some questions and then we'll close down.
Yeah.
When you log in if you go to the website and if it says 0 left, that means I'm sorry, there's no more $497 programs left. So we have 2 left. So if you have any more questions, I can answer them, and then we're done, guys.
Yeah, so in just last 2, I see you. Derek's in, Rex is in. Congratulations. Philip got in on here, and so yeah, we got 2 more spots in here, and just want to kind of reiterate a couple of things here. We're in a very unique time and age where we're able to open up businesses without brick and mortar. I mean, that's because of the internet, and then we can also take advantage of the arbitrage between the income and the value of the currency in countries like the UK, Australia, Canada, United States versus other parts of the world like the Philippines on here, where the dollar value is different. So you're able to hire these people who are college educated, have 3, 5, 6 years experience, either in a call center environment or some type of outsourcing environment. So these are seasoned people that are working. These are not part-time jobs that they're looking for. These are not jobs that they're seeking in order to wait until they get the job that they really want. These are career jobs in the Philippines. I used to in the day run call centers in the Philippines, so I understand how that works and the quality of work there. And there are many outsourcers from the Philippines. I preference the Philippines myself, that have spent the last 4 to 5 years in a call center at night, their time, doing cold calling to places like the UK and the United States and Australia. They're already seasoned veterans at this, and if you can you can pick up these people because they would love to work from home rather than working in a call center type environment. It's very cramped in there. It's a small environment, and the opportunity to be able to work at home is a huge plus for them. There's usually, the way it works there is that the call centers are usually located like in Manila. It's more of an expensive part of the town, and they've got to bus in these employees. It's usually an hour or two commute total. So if you can save that, and some of them have kids, and they're just the freedom to work from home too. So awesome on this and there. Just
well,
Bob, congratulations.
Let me add something to that. That's such a great thing. I mean, most people in foreign countries, their dream is actually to work for an American company and to be able to go out and not have to spend an hour commuting, right, each way. And if you think about it, it's a better life, especially for single moms or other people that really need to work hard. My guys have been with me for years. The level of loyalty that you get is amazing. Like, let me share one example, Chris. I don't know if you remember several months ago, maybe 6 months now or something, when they had the tsunami in the Philippines.
Yes.
The typhoon. And one of the things and it just blew me away, I had one of my employees, or a couple of my employees, travel by foot to a different province, take buses, do that whole thing, so they can work for me. Right? The dedication, I mean, just blew me away. And then that's the thing, guys. I do pay my guys after working with me for a while more than $250 to $300 a month. I give them bonuses. But if someone made you $3,000-$4,000 that month, you have no problem giving them a bonus of $200, $300. And my guys stay with me forever because I treat them right, and I show you how to manage your people right so that they stay with you forever. Let me tell you a fast story. When I hire someone and they've been with me for a month or two and they've done a good job, I go out and I send them extra money, and I tell them I want to sponsor a dinner for their family and their friends in the local area. So I send like an additional like $50, right? Which in those countries is a lot of money. And they buy, a bunch of food to have a dinner. Then I find out what day they're having the dinner at what time. I then hire a local florist to deliver flowers to the mom and dad with a message that says, I want to thank you for your son or daughter, right, whichever they had, for the amazing job that you did. They're one of the most valuable employees I've ever had. I just want to congratulate you and thank you. Now think about this. If you're the mom or dad, how would you feel that during a dinner that friends and families are there from the community, you're getting this message delivered in front of? As a parent, you're going to be so proud. As a kid, imagine how you would feel that this was in honor of you. Do you think you would ever cheat that company from time or productivity ever? Of course not. So I do this, and I've had employees email me back and say, by the way, my internet was not working, and my mom told me I had to go to my cousin's house to work because it was a storm on their computer, right? I mean, you have their mom, because in those countries it's very common for them to live with their parents, to the middle or late, 20s, maybe early 30. So you end up having the whole family push for you because you're such a great boss. So those are the things that, I want to show you. They're not just a number for me, like paying them less, but they grow with me because I'm making more money, and I show you how to take care of them so that they can actually feel like you're a great boss. And when you have great employees, they'll start coming up with ideas for you and go the extra mile just to help you be more successful. Now think about it. If you're going to hire a general administrative person in the U.S. who has knowledge, who has a college degree, it's in the U.S. we're talking about, that person is going to cost you $35,000 to $45,000 a year. This system has gotten me the same quality of people for $250 to $300 a month in the beginning. And that's why I'm able to leverage myself so much. That's why when people ask me at this business cruise I went to, how are you able to be in so many markets? Because when you have superstar people for so cheap, you can do so much in your life. So one of the things I want to say with you guys in closing now is in my, in my life, we always have this idea, this picture of ourselves of like, I'm going to do what I want to do, take the vacation I want to do, spend time with my kids one day, right? My dad and my parents came to this country illegally from Argentina. Now, I know that's bad, it's wrong, but I was a small kid, and I was like 5, 6 years old. Because they came in here illegally, the only job they could work was at a swap shop or a flea market. Because of that, my dad had to work 7 days a week. I remember my whole growing up time, I only took one vacation with my dad. Now, even though my dad's a great guy, I never saw him. I never wanted that for the same experience for my own kids. And in life, you're either the master of the slave or a slave. And if you work for someone, you're the slave because they dictate your schedule. But sometimes your own business, you can be the slave to your own business if you're doing everything yourself. So guys, I want to challenge you, if you do buy the course or you don't buy the course, that's okay. But just go out there and experience the possibilities of being able to leverage yourself with outsourced employees. And realistically, if you can't afford the 497, get the 197. It's a no-brainer, right? Don't spend the 10 years that it took me to really systemize everything and have it perfect. Just go ahead and have that done for you so that you can experience someone making money for you while you sleep. Trust me, even if you do the launch jacking, which is, using launches to get money, when you have the one experience of someone making money for you while you sleep and the machine is working for you 24/7, your life will never be the same. All right, guys, and you're going to remember this as a pinnacle moment. So I look forward, guys, to see you guys in the Facebook group, having the one-on-one phone call with me, and thank you, Chris, and everyone for your time.
Awesome. We still have got 2 of those spots open there. So if you're at all interested, now's the time to do it. Once we close this webinar, it's going to be over with on that end of it. I just want to point out a couple of things in here. I just realized this. Actually, somebody in the chat box pointed it out. I have never done one-on-one coaching before. I've had a lot of people ask me, and I've had people, say, well, I'll pay you $1,000 an hour. It's just something I've just never wanted to do. So this is the first time I've ever offered that. So I just want to note that there. We're not, I would encourage you that once you get in, and for those of you who have, go over the course, set up your one-on-one with Gonzalo, and then come to me and we'll set up the time together that works best for both of us, because I want to kind of go over more high-level stuff. I've got a lot of kind of more high-level techniques on how to run your business rather than the nitty-gritty. We can do that, but I think all that will be covered throughout the course. I want to spend more high-level on here. How did I go? It was no accident that I went from broke and nothing, and within a 12-month period, starting a business, grows $1.6 million, and I've continued to grow that business every single year, and starting to work less and less and less. Now, I'm not talking about push button on here. I'm talking about creating systems on here to be able to go online and manage teams of people online in this virtual world that we live in now, and be able to look at Matrix, understand from a glance, say that, for example, this year alone, myself and my family, we've lived in Hong Kong, we lived in Malaysia, we lived in tiny islands I can't even pronounce, and we're in Korea, and now in May we're moving to Barcelona, Spain. So, and I also homeschool my kids, which doesn't mean that I just put them on the internet. I actually enjoy interacting with them, and I spend hours with them a day doing that. So how do I do that, lead a life and all that kind of stuff, and manage 34 employees, and manage an ongoing growing company, and keep on top of everything that's changing? You can do this kind of stuff when you have systems in place. Okay, this didn't happen for me by accident. I've spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in private mastermind groups. Some of you may know the owner of Mind Valley. I'm in a private mastermind group with that. That is not cheap, okay? And that's because he's 20 steps ahead of me. His company grossed $50 million this year, and at the same time, he opened up 6 more new businesses, okay? And so I get to rub shoulders with him and learn from the best, and I get to pass that stuff on to you during that hour on that. So I want you to know that's really rare. Okay, so just, that alone should be it, but on that end of it. So I appreciate that, Chad. Chad sending me some love on there. Thank you so much. Yes, Paul, when you get in the course and you go through this course on here, I'll share with you the systems I use online, the matrix that I use. I use a combination now of Basecamp and Excel sheets, and I'm not the one who fills out the Excel sheets. My project managers do, and it's able for me to quickly glance and look at different aspects of my business, and I know right away, are we headed in the right direction, are we not, where are the immediate holes, and I can look at those once or twice per week. Really takes me about 30 minutes to do, to really absorb it, and then I've got usually a 1 week a consultation where everyone gets on a Skype call with me and my project managers, and we go over the different teams' projects and stuff like that. And then I pull back, okay? I can comfortably work 10, 15 hours a week, okay, and know that my business is growing and thriving. If I put a little bit more time into it, another 10, 15 more hours, working 30 hours a week, my business is going to grow even more. But it's only because I'm working off of the leverage of other people, and I've created systems. It's all about systems, guys and gals out there. It's not about the grunt work. It's not about, it's you're looking at your business and you know what, I'd really like to implement Facebook retargeting. I'm not going to be the guy that's going to learn the nitty-gritty on how to do it. I'm going to have the overview of understanding the process, knowing enough that it's important to implement into my business, and then I hand the course off to a trained employee that I trust, okay? And their job is to learn that, get back to me with an overview of the highlights of it, and then we create with a team manager on how we're going to implement that in the matrix so that we can measure it. I can immediately measure it on a daily basis on how it's working 5 minutes per day, okay? This is how you get stuff done. This is how you get stuff done on a larger scale and still lead a life out there. One of my favorite entrepreneurs is David Branson, because he's the master at just hiring other people to run his businesses. He's not like the Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was a different type of incredible visionary, but he was the guy who rolled up his sleeves, and he was the 60, 70 hour a guy work guy, but also managed a whole team of people. There are different types of entrepreneurs out there, and I really like the Branson model. He's just out there hiring people that are smarter than him, okay, and can get the job done. And that's what you're doing on here. So awesome. Okay, so some questions coming in here.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Paul, I mean, if you want to talk about private blog networks, it's going to be your hour, so that's not a problem. We can do that. On that, I would honestly answer those questions for you on the one-on-one, how we do it, how we set it up here, but I would also try to steer you into kind of stepping back 30 or 40,000 feet on how you can get someone else to do that for you.
Let me add something, Chris. Let me add something here.
Yeah.
One of the things that, in marketing, in the internet world, whatever, new techniques come up, like Facebook marketing, Google Hangouts, SEO, things like that. If you're going to do anything in your life, and I always tell myself this, my number one job is to be a master at creating systems and managing people. Because what happens is these new techniques that come out, if you're able to outsource for cheaply and master people, no matter what the next thing is, you have a team working for you. It's not for you to learn how to do the next Teespring campaign or whatever crazy things people do nowadays, because then you're always chasing the low-hanging fruit. You're kind of like the horse with a carrot in front of you. But when you are like a true business owner, it's actually to have systems. It's actually to run a business like McDonald's, like Subway, to actually that you're able to then say to your team, hey guys, like I give an example. I'm doing a lot of Facebook retargeting to land clients, right? All I did is I bought 3 courses, and send some resources to one of my guys, and I said I want you to go over this stuff in the next week and a half. And what they did is they went through all the courses, all the materials, all the reading, research about it, and they came back with synopsis on what they think I should be doing and why we should be doing it. And guess what? I didn't have to spend 28 hours of learning this stuff for me. Now I have a person who learned how to do it, but not only that, they documented the system so that if they need to they leave, guess what? I already have a system. The great thing about JoyProof that it records their screen while they work. If you ever have a guy leave, then you have a recording of how they do things. More importantly, if you're reviewing the recording and you notice they're doing something incorrectly, you can catch it right off the beginning, not wait 2 weeks later. So guys, thank you, Chris, for having me on here. It was so much fun, and thank you guys for everything.
Awesome on that end of it. So I'm just going to answer just a couple more questions here,
Sure.
and if anyone else is like you've got I'm on the fence kind of question, just put a Q so I can see it, because a lot of other questions come on. This is if you're on the fence, you've got to get this one answered question, so I can point that out here. But I just want to go over a couple of questions on here. Chad, you're welcome. Okay, cool. Okay, Gonzalo, you've got a couple of kind of private ones there. If you want to answer those from Lisa, and I'll take care of some of these others. Alrighty. So Brian on here asks, this is a good question. He asks on here, how do you track basically the monitoring? So let's say, for example, Brian's asking here, you can monitor, he's talking about pay-per-call, you can monitor and track the initial lead through call tracking, because you've got recording on there, and you've also got the actual tracking itself that you can track through your reports. But how do you monitor the deal's closing a week later? All the calls are recorded, and it doesn't matter. There's some states that have certain regulations on it. Any good call tracking system like ours will have that option where it just gives a little message before the customer picks up the phone that says, "Hey, this call may be recorded for quality assurance and training purposes." I'm sure we've all heard that before, and that allows you to record and save it on an MP3 file. On our system, it's all saved there, so that's how you can track that stuff through. I would not recommend that you personally go through and listen to all the calls. You can randomly go through them, but you should have somebody on your team that's in charge of doing that, and then then they've got some kind of key matrix that we can talk about in the one-on-one consultation on how you would set that up so that you can quickly look at it, and they might even drop in 1 or 2 random MP3 files that you can go and listen to, because maybe you want to listen to the closed deal on that end of it. But the entire process is monitored using the JoyProof. And if you're in the pay-per-call lead generation business, then all the way to the recording of the actual customer. So the entire thing in this day and age just now can all be captured. So it's a good question there.
Well, one more thing also, so to make sure I do that, like I guess the link for the free demo of the JoyProof video, my employer video, let me send it to you, is joyproof.com/video. So if you want to put that, Chris, in there, just make sure I keep my word, that they'll get a free sample of my employer video, and that's all you'll get. You'll just get a link to my employer video on YouTube that you can see it. So you can go to that later on after the webinar is over, so you can actually get it emailed to you. And that will show you our video, just to make sure you guys have it. Because even if you go out and do this, at least I want to make sure you guys have an idea of what an employer video should look like, so you can actually copy it.
Awesome. And that was joyproof.com/video?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. That'd be pretty easy. Okay, cool. All righty. This is great. David asked on here, we're all rookies at everything, right? So he said, I'm a rookie at all this. Will I be able to get this off the ground easily and quickly? And I would say absolutely yes. The training, maybe you don't recall, but some of the testimonies on there were, most of them all commented on how well the training was. And Gonzalo is a stickler at just giving you the exact stuff that you need step by step, not a quick kind of brush over, but leaves out all the little details, but yet not too long. So it's perfect is in the learning environment. And I wish when I was a total newbie at hiring people and starting to build a business that I had a course like this. It would have saved me at least 18 months of trial and error. So if you're a newbie at this, congratulations. You're ahead of the curve.
Well, and that's the great thing is, if you have your guys, and I tell people, okay, if you're going to hire someone, don't go crazy and hire 10 people. I had one guy hire like 5 people in his first time. Like, whoa, slow down. Hire one person. You're going to train them to do a specific lead generation or launch jacking or something that can help you get more business. Because if we're honest with our day as a business owner, realistically maybe 10% of our time is spent on critical things. The rest of the time is spent on busy work. So that's why when I hire someone, I focus on lead generation, and because I know it's not going to cost me money. So if you have them do the launch jacking or offline lead generation for your business, or even solicit partnerships for you, right? Whatever it is, you're able to have them focus on that. Because realistically, for an employee for $250, I mean, you could be the worst manager. You're scared. You don't know what you're doing. I walk you through every step of the way to make sure that you're okay. You're able to have access on Facebook with everyone else who's done this. And I have people who are managing teams of 10, 15 people now because of the tools that they have, right? Because they're able to do it. So the big thing is, I have a belief that it only takes one. I'm going to share something with the group, Chris. This is I think either my third or fourth webinar in my life.
Hard to believe, my friend. Yeah. Hard to believe.
Well, here's the crazy thing. I remember doing my first one, even before I got on the call today. You get the fight or flight feeling. You get nervous, blah blah blah. All I did is I had my guys surf the internet and find the best webinars that people talk about. I had them download those webinars and then watch them and make notes on why they thought and why people said those webinars were good. So I had my guys do this, watch like dozens of hours of webinars, so I wouldn't have a panic attack before I was. Of course, I felt like I was going to have one, but here's my thing. My belief is it only takes one. Because here's the thing is, if you're able to do something one time, there's no reason you can't do it 100 times. So if you take the bull by its horn and hire that one employee for the first time ever, and you see them make money for you, you're going to remember this day saying, wow, the webinar that I was with Chris and Gonzalo changed my life. It only takes one guy. So take the bull by its horn. Remember I said that you're either the master or the slave. Because here's the thing is, we always have that idea of ourselves that we're going to be different than we are. And there's never going to be a better time, right? Oh, when I have more money, when I have more experience, when I read the next book about running a business. No, you go out there, you learn it, you get a couple of scrapes. But the great thing is when you're able to use a system that you're able to learn from someone's, the collective experience over 10 years of doing this, and learn from the mistakes, you're able to have a lot less mistakes and be able to apply it to your life. And guys, for those who bought or didn't buy, thank you everyone for your time. I really appreciate it. And at the end of the day, here's the thing is, I used to volunteer in a nursing home. The biggest thing that people would say to me, like these old guys right at nursing homes, because I used to like volunteering, would say, the only regret I had was not taking enough chances. I played it too safe. As business, it's human nature to want to protect ourselves, but the rewards only happen to those who take a chance. So it's not going to be in the next course. It's not going to be the next book. It's going to be on the moment that you decide that you're going to take a chance and believe in yourself. And that's the thing, guys. Before I did my first webinar, I literally had a panic attack, and I thought I was going to leave the room because it was something I've never done before. Well, guess what? Being your own boss, outsourcing for the first time, you're going to be nervous, but you're going to have all the tools for you to succeed. And then you're going to remember and laugh, and then you're going to have your 10, 20 employees and like, wow, I have free time. I remember when I used to be this way. So guys, thank you. And I'm excited for everyone here on the call.
Outstanding. So I think we've answered all the questions on here, and wanted to thank everybody, particularly our guest today. He was awesome, and I think you can all feel and hear his integrity and his expertise and his voice and what he shared. And everybody who showed up for the call, surprised how many people came on here is fantastic, and spending your valuable time with us today. I hope that we served you well on that end of it. And for everyone else on the call, remember to serve first, earn more, and live more. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.